Okay, nutrition. So, like I said before, this is the part that is probably the hardest part of any challenge when you're trying to either put on muscle or drop body fat. It is. People often think turning up to the gym is the hard part. It's, don't get me wrong, the alarm can go off if you're training at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. and you go, I don't want to get out of bed, it's hard. But you can actually develop that habit relatively quickly. Nutrition is constant because you'll be hungry, and then if you're like Shell, you'll be hangry and you get hungry, and then so there's a flow-on effect, and it actually is just a constant thing. So it's something you need to adapt to and then find strategies that work for you. This is where hands up for any questions along the way, because we just want you to understand all of this, all right? So we'll hopefully give you a pretty in-depth overview, and then we get to some exciting stuff where we've got some real support that's going to go along with you for this 12 weeks.
And I think with this as well, it says to be better with your nutrition, you need to learn about nutrition. So I know lots of people are like, am I going to get a meal plan? I'm like, you're going to learn about nutrition, so then you can be better at it. Because the fact of the matter is, you're not going to follow a meal plan for the next 30 years of your life. This is the long term. I know this is 12 weeks now, but this is not a standalone 12 weeks. This is you actually learning about nutrition. So when you've got goals in mind and you go out to dinner, you have knowledge to be able to make a selection that's going to support your goals. Okay, so to actually be better with it, this is now your ownership, where we get to help you learn more about it.
Yeah. Because the reality is, pretty much everyone I've seen has followed a fully prescribed nutrition plan, ends up yo-yoing straight back out the other side once it's over. So that's why it's important. All right, you're going to talk about this one?
Yeah. Yep. Can you put up your hand whether you've used like the term junk food or bad food or something like that before? Yeah. Yeah. I want us to.
Hands up on liar.
So the reason I say this is because particularly I know, speaking from a female perspective, from all the women in the room, we've demonized food many a times for many years. Food has a nutritional value. So for us, when we're looking at losing weight or putting on weight or gaining muscle or trying to stick at a maintenance, it's actually, we just need to know that food has an amount of calories. Our body doesn't know, hey, that was the McDonald's and that was a banana and that was that. It considers the macronutrient component. It takes the macronutrients, the micronutrients, it's its energy source, okay? So when we look at, say, the acai bowl and the green smoothie, its nutritional value is excellent. But if you're looking at a fat loss phase, which lots of you are, most of you, so I'm going to reference this. If you're looking at a fat loss phase and you've got to look at your amount of calories, then your McChicken burger and Coke Zero are actually less calories. Nutritionally, the benefits aren't necessarily the same there. There's lots of various nutritions, macro and micronutrients in this option, but we've got 725 calories here, only 13 grams of protein. We need to consider, okay? So it's not saying one is better or worse, it's not saying one is good or bad, but it's us learning about the nutritional components of food, so then you can make an educated choice.
So just to reiterate that, just so everyone's clear, because this is the part that people do really struggle with, it is purely an energy that we're talking about at the moment. Energy in, which we'll talk about, and energy out. That's the balance. We're not talking about the quality of the food. Clearly the food up here on the left is far better quality for the micronutrients and everything else you're going to get for your immune system. That's different. We're not talking about that. We're talking about you'll dive into it with how many calories you're going to burn each day, and that's all we're talking about there. It's just an energy component. It's a measure of energy. That's all calories are. Right? It's got nothing to do with macronutrients at all. It's actually just a measure of energy. So when we're talking about that, so this is where we're talking calories in, calories out. Now, this is how important nutrition is, and we're also going to talk about something else in regards to dropping body fat. We say weight, weight is really insignificant to us, body fat is what we want, because some of you are in a perfect window right now where you can put on lean muscle and drop body fat, so your weight won't really do much, but your body composition will do a lot, and that's where we want to be. So body fat. You look at this big big grey area here, that's your BMR, basal metabolic rate. If you look at your in-body scans, we've always highlighted what your basal metabolic rate is. When they say, if you do resistance training...
Anyone have a scan on them that wants to look
I've
at
just
it?
seen, yeah, I did see a couple.
Yeah, so it's in the... It's in this section down here. So you can see your BMR. So if you have a look on your scan down in that bottom right-hand corner, you'll see your basal metabolic rate, your BMR. You can see what that actually is. So that refers to that grey section.
Yep. Your BMR is how many calories you would burn if you woke up and didn't open your eyes and lay dead still for the whole day. Right, that's it. Literally what your body uses to survive. Now the scary part about that is you'll look at some of those and then you would have seen what they've prescribed people on The Biggest Loser, or you've heard some old school stuff about being on 1,000 or 1,200 calories, and that means you're not even surviving. Right? That's too low. That means hormonally, bodily functions, everything's like struggling to function. So that's your BMR. Now when they talk about, just to go a little bit deeper in here, when they talk about why resistance training is so effective for burning calories at rest, right? We're not talking about in the gym training as opposed cardio versus resistance training, is the more muscle you have, the higher your BMR will go. All right, so that moves up. So you'll burn more calories while you're asleep and while you're doing anything. Okay, so that's important. But you can see, massive chunk. So this is where resistance training and our style of training will kind of take care of that for you. But having lean muscle and developing lean muscle means that through your day, you're burning a lot of calories without actually having to do anything. The next thing we're going to talk about is, if we go around to the orange, is NEAT, so non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So it's the one down the bottom here.
So all those coloured sections, this is all based on non-resting components.
I should have gone to the heading first. Total daily energy expenditure, TDEE. Just if you, that's all that stands for there. So this is what you're burning a day. So your NEAT. This is where we talk about steps. Now, NEAT actually isn't your steps. NEAT is me talking with my hands, is fidgeting, moving around, crossing over, fidgeting your thumbs. What happens is when you're in a calorie deficit over a period of time, your body is super efficient, and we will always try and conserve energy and survive. You fidget less. So instead of sitting at your desk, you won't and your leg, some people shake their leg or just whatever it is, right? That minimises over time, because our body goes, oh no, I'm actually in a deficit, I don't want to burn any more calories, but that's important for us to do. So that's why we stay on top of our steps, because that just means we're getting enough movement in through the day. And we'll talk about steps and all or nothing later, but that movement you can see is a massive chunk of what we're talking about with burning calories. So we'll talk about some strategies for that later as well. Then we're going to move around, and you got exercise here. So exercise activity thermogenesis. So eat.
That's your training session. That's only 5%.
Yep.
So that's you actually choosing to come and exercise and do. That's such a small chunk.
So while you're in the gym, that's what it is. That's how minimal it is. That's why we're talking about how important nutrition is here. So we say it's only 5%. Again, if you develop lean muscle, that contributes to your BMR. There's a flow-on effect from the gym, and it's definitely beneficial. But a lot of people are like, oh yeah, well I'll just go and train it out, and that's where you'll always hear you can't out-train a bad diet. It wouldn't matter. You could go and do 3 hours, and you're looking at maybe increasing that to 7% of your day. Like that's about all you could do. Like it's a small part of our daily energy expenditure. Obviously contributes broadly to how our body will react moving forward. But then the thermal effect of food is 10%. So to digest food, there's a thermal effect associated with that. So our body needs to heat up and burn that. So protein, which we're going to talk about a lot, has the highest thermal effect. It's about 30%. So about 30% of the calories involved in that is burnt in digesting it. That's why, has anyone ever had the meat sweats where you can't sleep at night when you just smash a heap of, well, maybe I've had that a lot of times. We'll go out,
Don't bring me into this.
go to this stage where we order enough food on a 2-person table that people are looking at us like, where's everyone else? And then it's just like, and then I'm forced to eat all the first stuff. So anyway, I can't sleep that night. If you haven't had that, you haven't lived. You need to try that tonight, because you've got the challenge coming up. But so it does. You are a lot hotter. It does take a lot more energy to burn protein, and that's why a high protein diet, when you're There's multiple reasons. One, you want to maintain muscle, but two, you're kind of getting some free calories in there as well. For carbohydrates, that's about 3 to 5%, so they're a little bit easier digested, but there's still a thermal effect. For fat, it's about 0.3%. All right, so you basically, all the fat that you eat goes in as fat. Now, fat isn't bad. It's not fat like the fat on your body. We'll talk about that as well.
Yep.
But just so you can see a visual image that the gym is a small part, and coming in here and just going, I'm just going to go harder on the treadmill when I do it because I ate 3 biscuits last night, that's not how it actually works, all right?
What we can tend to manipulate or have the most control over is our NEAT.
Yep.
So we will talk more about our NEAT later, because that's that 15%, that's where we've got some more ability to have an impact as well. Does anyone have any questions about that total daily energy expenditure? Pretty good. We can come back to it if we need to as well. But this is, Benny sort of mentioned this earlier in regard to our energy balance when we talked about in regard to nutrition. We need to be aware that it is calories. When we're talking about a calorie deficit or a calorie surplus or being at maintenance, okay, this is what we're talking about. So for us to be at maintenance, we need the same calories in, so the same food and drinks in as our calories out, which is our TDEE. So that's your BMR, your NEAT, your EAT, and your TEF, your thermal effective food there. Does that make sense? If they're even, then we just stay at the same way. Okay?
Hey, just before we go,
Yep.
does anyone else think that the EAT should be related to food? I hate that acronym is related to exercise, but apart from that, it says food and drinks. Drinks are the easiest way to get your calories through the roof. All right, so get comfortable with probably not having juices and smoothies, and like we had a Tully smoothie this morning, but they are so full of calories. Like I think I got there 700 calories for that, and it's like, and then you're hungry within half an hour. All right, so you can really get a lot of calories in through drinks.
I was devastated when I tracked it one time.
Yeah, I asked them for it, and I'm like, oh, are you sure that's right? I'm like, it can't be that high, but anyway, yeah.
Now, so this just unpacks that a little bit more. Now we throw these words around a lot, and people that have worked with nutrition and that side of things. Calorie deficit, maintenance calories, calorie surplus. What happens is the majority of people I talk to try to stick in a calorie deficit for a majority of their life. That's not how it should be. You should not be in a calorie deficit all the time. We do this one specific huge focus challenge per year where most people focus on a calorie deficit. The rest of the year, we don't really, it'll be dependent on the individual. We don't really push it as a whole. The reason we promote a calorie deficit at this time of the year is because you're 3 months away from getting to some warmer weather and wanting to take some clothes off, and I know I feel a bit more confident when I'm feeling a little bit leaner and going from there. So essentially you shouldn't be in a calorie deficit all the time. You also shouldn't be in a calorie surplus all the time, so we know here. You should, majority of your life, live in a maintenance. And I know Benny speaks about, in regard to putting on muscle, that you actually don't even need to be in much of a surplus.
There's the old school thing of in bodybuilding, the dirty bulk, like people are just smashing pizzas and McDonald's. It works, like people, you're in a huge surplus and you'll put on muscle.
It is easier when you have more fat to put on muscle.
Yeah, well, it just means you never dive out of being in a surplus. The reality is you only need to be in a surplus of 200 to 300 calories at most. As long as there's enough there for you to adapt to the stimulus you've given it, you can put on lean muscle. So you don't actually, people see surplus and think, I'm going to get fat if I try and put on muscle. You don't actually have to, that's not actually how it works. You don't need to get fat while you do that. You might be as ripped as when you're in a deficit. When Cheryl said most people live their life in a deficit, they don't. Most people try and live their life in a deficit. Right? No, that's what I'm saying, yeah. So but the guilt and the self-loathing and I've fallen off the wagon, I need to starve myself, and then I'm going to eat more tomorrow, I'm going to yo-yo. What we're trying to get through this and the education through these 12 weeks is that you can tweak that, and you can have a week or two or whatever where you're dog shit, really. Your nutrition's shit. Like that's the pure facts of it, right? But then you go, I don't need to starve myself. We're hoping you'll learn. You don't need to starve, and starving yourself is not actually beneficial for getting where you want to go. Let's just get back to maybe a little deficit. Like I will control it for a little bit, but I just get back on track and I just keep moving forward. All right. So this constant up and down and the mental the fatigue mentally you get from that is just not how you want to live your life, and too many people do it, and that's what we're
Benny
talking
just
about.
mentioned the guilt associated with this yo-yoing, with this going through the ups and downs, and put your hand up if you've felt that before.
Oh, yeah, I definitely have too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what I hope with my whole being for you guys is that we can educate and empower you and inform you enough to be able to go through your deficit phase and then come out and be like, okay, I'm actually pretty damn proud of myself. I'm going to sit at maintenance for a while. I'm just going to enjoy life. I know.
And that's not maintenance every day of the week. That means, yes, it's Christmas, so I'm going to blow out and I'm going to have 2 days, whatever, and then you just get back on track. It's not like every day, oh, my maintenance is 2,800 calories, I need to hit 2. We're not saying you're counting it all the time, but you'll have an idea and you'll just stick it, and you'll kind of just know within yourself and looking at yourself. Yeah.
I don't know if I can choose both Kim and Ray.
Well, you just
Can
did.
you two just stand up and wave to me? Just do a little wave. So these were conversations that I've had since the 12-week challenge last year in regard to sticking at a maintenance phase. And are you guys proud of yourselves?
Yep, very.
But can I throw you under the bus? Can you speak for a little second about that journey?
Kim's like, just refer to my video.
Yeah. I didn't say that, I promise. Go on.
Well, this is my 4th challenge, and every year after the challenge, I drop a lot of weight, and I push myself out of my comfort zone, and I, challenge myself every week, and it's always dropping weight. I have to drop a kilo this week. I have to drop another kilo, and I get to where I want to be at the end, and I'm very, very proud. But over time, and usually around that March sort of period, that's where it all creeps back on again. And then I start the 12-week challenge and I'm back to scratch. And I promised myself I wouldn't do it this
So
year.
at the end of the challenge last year, we spoke about this.
Yeah.
We had this conversation that we wanted to get here.
Yeah, and I was frustrated last
Really
year because I
frustrated.
was really annoyed with myself. And then I'm probably 2 kilos, and muscle, obviously muscle stayed the same, and 2 kilos lighter than when I finished last 12-week challenge.
Awesome.
So for me, last year was my first challenge, and when I joined the gym in May, I had a fair bit of weight to lose. So it started before the challenge. The challenge really kick-started me. I think put on a bit of muscle and lost about 6 kilos, and I wanted to lose more than that. And I think from when I've started, it's been about 14 kilos, but I've maintained since about February this year.
And the goal was a maintenance phase. And we did the scan, literally, and it was almost identical. It was a maintenance phase.
Literally for all that time. And the good thing about the maintenance phase is I kind of was blown away, is I could actually enjoy food more than I thought. Like beforehand I was much more, I guess, good, bad, whereas I was consistently able to have a fair bit more than I actually thought of maintenance phase, but I just kept a close eye on it, and so I will want to sort of just level up a bit more this time and then go into maintenance again. But maintenance is good.
So further to that too, you don't, and going into a maintenance phase, you don't have to count calories forever. You'll be able to just, counting calories if you never have before, it's, the first 2 weeks is this is a pain in my ass. It's a pain in the ass, it is. You get so much more efficient with it. You start eating the similar things all the time to your meal prep. It does get a lot easier. If you've never done it, you really need to do it. That's the reality because it gives us somewhere to go and help you as well, because if you're like, oh yeah, I've been on track, I've been doing this, oh yeah, so you've been measuring weight. No, not really. I can guarantee you're underestimating what you're eating. And it's so easy, everyone does that. It's so easy to do. So moving forward into a maintenance phase, yeah, you'll be able to eyeball things, you'll be able to feel it, there's things that you'll be able to do and adjust. So you don't have to calorie count forever. I just want to, one other person that's not here that actually won the challenge last year as well is Jai Fisher. So Mel was here over the back, but she would have seen it. He's won it before, and he yo-yos. It's nearly like, from a gym perspective, people are, okay, you're the perfect client, mate. You come in here, you get fat, you get in shape, you get in fat again, you get in shape, it's great. But the reality is, what was so good is this year he did his scan yesterday. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but I love fish. He's like...
Ben and Fish are friends.
Yeah.
Just saying.
he said, he's like, yeah, look, I've like, he's put on a little bit of weight, and it's probably just been the last month. He goes, I think he knows the challenge is coming. He's like, I don't need to. But then he's like, I sort of wish I hadn't. But what he's going to do is, he's like, I think this year I'm going to try and just drop some weight for 4 or 5 weeks. I just want to get a little bit leaner, because he's actually still quite lean. And then I'm going to try and build muscle. And I'm like, that is so good, because every year a lot of people, you know, they'll yo-yo, and Ray just done it, where it's just like, you come in and I'm like, I have to just try and get lean. And eventually, if you can get to a challenge a challenge might be staying in maintenance and working on other habits, or it might be trying to put on size, that's actually where you want to go. I'm not saying it's this one, obviously, but the next year and then the year after. So, yeah.
So what I'm hoping is you can envision that the future is bright. That I genuinely want you to have a positive relationship with food, because too many people don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions about that side of things? No?
All right, so macros. This is, you hear us, we've said it a number of times today. We're going to just break down what the macros are and what they're worth. So carbs, when we're talking energy, they're 4 calories. When we're looking at protein, energy, they're 4 calories, and fat is 9. So
Per 1 gram.
per 1 gram. So when you are looking at how many grams of things to eat and what you're trying to stick to with the macro target, which we'll go through later, that's why fat will always look a lot lower, just because it's such a higher fuel source. Now, carbs, we talked about demonising good and bad food. Carbs have copped the worst rap over the years. Carbs don't make you fat. I hope we've made this abundantly clear right now. If you had 0 carbs, the keto diet has proved it over and over again, where the keto diet is the one where there's basically no carbs and it's just high protein, high fat. And so a mate of mine that was well overweight, it's like, oh, I want this keto, I'm going to do keto, it's great, you can eat all this, whatever you want. Well, he got fatter as he went, because there's so many calories in fat and protein. It's satiating diet, but if you eat more than you're burning, you're going to put on fat. Nothing to do with carbs. So let's just get that clear.
I think as well, just quickly, the macro stands for macronutrients. The macro being large, it's big. We need these macros. We need all of them for our body to function optimally. So cutting one out doesn't actually help our body function optimally.
Carbohydrates are your fuel source, right? Fat is a fuel source as well. Carbohydrates will supercharge your resistance training. You need carbohydrates to help you synthesize protein. So to break the proteins down more effectively and absorb those to...
Benny's skipping ahead. We're actually going to talk about each of those macronutrients.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was the part. I got lost.
So when we... Yeah, here we go.
So protein then. You go. Yeah, so protein. You'll see we've got this AI coming up that we're going to talk about. We have certain parameters. The minimum, this is a minimum amount of protein that we want you to have, is 2.2 grams per kilo of muscle. If you were in a deficit, maintenance or surplus, that would be the same. Right? Your protein never changes. Doesn't matter what phase you're at, we don't ever change that. And it's probably more important in a deficit to maintain a higher level of protein.
Particularly because you guys are weight training. You are resistance training. This is specific to you. Okay?
Yep. It repairs tissue. It's satiating as well. Like I said before, so if you have if you get protein in every meal, you won't be as hungry between every meal as well. So it's super important. We do talk about supplements later, but ideally, if you can get this through lean meats and like eggs. Is anyone veg? I was just thinking about it.
Veg or vegan?
Veg or vegan? There's none. No one want to put their hands up? No. That's great. I thought this room was good.
Oh, stop it. We have nothing against him.
No.
Sometimes I have to censor him.
It's fine being a veg, yeah.
Any questions about the protein side of things? All right, fats. Fats are, for all the women out here, super important for your hormones. Okay, so the same, obviously carbs have been demonized, but we see low fat plastered everywhere as well. Fat gets its fair share of being demonized too. Fat is so integral for our hormones, and if we try to cut it out, you're going to notice the impacts. So we recommend 0.85 to 1 gram per kilo of body weight. Now,
as a minimum.
Now, Benny and I, when we've navigated and played with macros over the years, Benny likes a higher fat diet. I like a higher carb. So for someone, Kim might like higher fat and I like higher carb. But like, you're not always going to be identical to someone, but we have these as a minimum because hormonally you need to make sure you're getting fats.
So just while we're kind of talking a little bit of maths there then, we've set a minimum of protein at 2.2, a minimum of fat at 0.85. If you worked out that on your body weight, which we're going to do later, that's your minimum now. The rest of it is carbohydrates if you want. But if you want more fat, that's okay. The carbohydrates will just be sacrificed a little bit. Again, don't get rid of the carbs. We need a certain level. The protein can't be sacrificed. But then if the protein went up a little bit, then the carbs are still sacrificed a little. So they're the ones that adjust slightly. Yep.
So if you're trying to lose body fat,
Yep.
are you taking that, doing the math in your current weight and then changing your weight, changing your goal weight?
We've got that worked out and we've got that on the next thing. So to do with your
Depends
TDEE.
on the person.
Yeah. And it depends on the progress as well. So there's a couple of aspects to that as well. So, but at the moment, you would do it off your current, we've worked it out off, it's worked out with, I suppose, your future, there's a deficit, a 20% deficit. That's what it is, okay? So that is a 20% at most. You can go more aggressive, but adherence becomes less, it's harder to keep on muscle. So it's on a 20% deficit from where you are now.
It would be your
Yep.
current weight.
Yep.
For someone who has a lot of body fat to lose, it's more based on their goal weight or closer to their goal weight. Say, for example, someone who has, say, 40 kilos to lose, if you're doing 2.2 times their whole body weight, like that's, for lots of people, it's just too much.
Yeah.
So it's aggravated based on, depending on the person. So for someone like yourself, it's your weight now. That'll be fine.
Because it's just on that, because the protein, the more research is coming out, you could go up to 4 grams per kilo and have no adverse effects. They used to think your kidneys were damaged, but that was more from a supplementation route. So you can actually go quite high on protein. So and we just keep it there because of resistance training. Yeah.
Just with the carbs and the fats, is that just a taste personal preference, or is it a type of body that should have more carbs?
There's a type of body.
Yeah, so that's obviously where you say you might choose to have
Yeah.
more carbs.
It's how I
It's how you
feel.
feel.
Yeah, how I feel and perform in the gym.
Yeah.
But it's
So you sort of
anecdotal
kinda play
research.
around. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll notice over the time. So I
Sal's a
feel,
carb monster.
I
and-
feel
yeah.
flat if I have too much fat and not enough carbs. Like
And I feel
or I feel
bloated and
lethargic
sluggish
or,
if I have too many carbs.
so it is,
Yeah.
it's you on you.
In saying that, I still have plenty of carbs, don't get me wrong, but I this is getting way down, but I structure it more around training time. So pre and post workout, I'll get more carbs in, and at dinner time, I'll have less carbs than, yeah. Just how I feel.
Great questions from
Yeah.
both of you. Any other questions there?
Just on the protein,
Yeah.
is it like the maximum you can have per meal? I think it's like 40
No, that's a bit of a myth too. That's a bit of a myth. So yeah, that was an old school thing where they said you could only absorb a certain amount. No, so if you had a 300 gram chicken breast, it's about 90, like raw, that's about 90 grams of protein. You can definitely have that, and that still contributes to, your body will still use, don't get me wrong, if your body doesn't use some of it, it might get rid of it, but it's not going to waste it and go, no, hang on, you've just given me 3 times the amount. Yeah, it does, they've shown that
You
doesn't.
just find you get really full and it's hard to get in.
Yeah. No, as a male, you'll probably be okay with that, mate. I find males can just eat big like that and just make up for it. Like, I have no worries for myself. I was like, I can't eat that much in one bit. I'm like, oh, well, just harden up and
Yeah. So carbs, like Benny spoke about briefly, that remaining calories. So we look at our protein, we look at our fats, okay? And obviously, like those questions have asked in regard to fats, we'll note, if you're like I am feeling a bit flat, we might navigate it, but there still needs to hit the minimums, essentially, because that is those targets based on making sure we keep you healthy. But carbs-wise, it is your primary energy source, supports brain function, muscle preservation, digestive health, performance and recovery, all of these massive, important things that if we were to cut carbs, you feel like shit. Like, that's the simple facts of it. So we're not having to get rid of
gosh,
carbs.
how we swear.
Fruit and veggies are carbs. I think I remember seeing, it was a while ago, I remember seeing something on Instagram about this guy saying carrots is why everyone's getting fat, because they're having too many carrots. Eat as many carrots as you want, guys. But they're carbs. So carbs were getting demonized. We need fruit and veggies because this also now connects into what's super important, which we haven't even touched on, is fibre. Okay, so fibre falls under carbohydrates. Okay, so we need we recommend a minimum of 25 grams of carbs. So when you're looking in how of 25 grams of fibre, okay, it falls within our carbs. For men, 35 grams.
30.
So this is what makes you regular. This is what helps with your digestion. This is what helps you to function, essentially. So we need fibre. Now, when you're looking at that tracking, there's plenty of ways you can track. We'll talk about that. But it tends to be the one that people struggle with.
And this is where, all the way back to that first image we brought in with the acai bowl and the McDonald's. That's where, if you were eating like the McDonald's, you would struggle with fibre. Whereas you look at that other side, that would have had lots of fibre in it. And obviously fruits, veggies, and
Whole
things like
foods.
that. You know, whole foods have a lot more fibre in that. So that's where this is where we start talking about food quality and performance as well.
Yeah.
On that, there was a picture of bread in the last one too. Bread, pasta seem to get demonised as these carbs. I've cut out bread and pasta. Why? Like, you don't need to cut out bread. If you like having a slice, I have bread as part of my pre-workout, like with toast and whatever it is, banana and honey and stuff. It's no problem. Having poached eggs without bread is weird. It is. It's weird. What do you do? Like, unless I don't know. I just find
So we're looking at our complex carbs or our simple carbs. So simple carbs, a lot of our processed foods. It's easy to eat lots. So it's easy to eat lots of calories. That's why. So that's why lots of the time people will say, I'm going to cut out carbs. It tends to be they're talking to me about processed carbs. But what I want for you is for you to develop a relationship with food. That means you can include the foods you love. Now, I love pasta, and if someone said, you're going on a diet, you'll never get pasta again, I'd be like, well, that sounds shit. So this is a lifestyle. Yeah. This is
passion. She loves pasta. Yeah.
But it means that your serving size might need to considerably change for you to get some. So keep that in mind. You're not going to be able to have your massive bowl. Your serving size, you're going to look at it and be like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. But
so you might choose not to then, because when you're hungry, you're like, that's all I get, I'll eat that.
Yeah, so that's when we look at volume eating, so foods that are lower calorie so you can eat more. So that's why it tends to be that we go for those whole foods, not your processed carbs in that sense, like not your pastas, because you want to get more volume, because otherwise you're not full. So you'll weigh up what you would prefer. Do you prefer a massive bowl of salad and some meat, or do you prefer a tiny little bowl of pasta? Which, it depends on my mood. And you get to make an educated and informed choice in that regard. And that's what we want to try to teach you to see.
And I'm not saying just eat bread and pasta, because that's what someone said. No, Ben said bread and pasta. That's what comes out of this. No, I didn't. Just saying you don't have to cut it out. Yeah. Okay, hydration is super, super important. A 2% drop in hydration will affect your performance in the gym, cognitive function, a whole array of other things. 2%. So by the time you wake up in the morning, you've already hit 2%. Front load your day. Hydrate before you have coffee or anything else. Try and have 2 big glasses of water. All right, try and flush your system. If you have some lemon, some salt in there for a bit of electrolytes as well.
Put your hand up. Have you got a drink bottle? Put your hand up if you want a drink bottle here with you. Bonus points, guys. Some of you, I've seen a couple of you.
Now, a drink bottle that you know the designated size of is really handy as well for keeping track of this, but I'll talk about that. So what we aim for is 30 ml of water per kilo of body weight. So let's just go easy maths. If you're 100 kilos, you're going to have 3 litres, all right? Baseline, right? Then you've got, if you're a sweater like me, that'll be 4 litres, because I train during the day, I'll need probably another litre to make up for that. If you're somewhere in between the training, you'll have anywhere from sort of 500 ml to an extra litre on top of that. Will you go to the toilet a lot more? Yes, you will. That's a good thing, your body's working, but it does get less. So to start with, especially if you front load your day a little bit, you'll be going to the toilet a fair bit. It does get better. Your body actually adapts to getting the water, and you won't be going to the toilet every 20 minutes, but you still will be going, you know, at least every hour, which you probably should be. In saying that, I'm talking about front loading it. Don't dehydrate yourself towards the end of the day, but you don't want to be going to bed when you've just smashed in a litre, because then you'll be up all night and then you'll affect your sleep. Okay, so
It's
just
an easy win, guys.
Yeah.
Water's a really easy one that you can feel some success. Have a drink bottle and you be intentional in, like, if it's near you, just do drink it more.
and finish it and then fill it, because then you can keep track of. So if you know it's a litre, there's one. Otherwise, if you just keep filling, you don't really know where you're at as well. So just a way to track that. Yep.
This is AI. Just so you guys know, this isn't a real person, but it does visualise body composition great. Instead of me getting 4 different people up here that all weigh 70 kilos, it's good to have AI to help us out here, because your body composition changes. Your body composition is different to other people, but for you and your journey, we want to improve your body composition. I need to remove your connection to the scale weight. Okay, don't be so concerned about the actual weight on the scale when you step on. That's why it's so good when we do the body composition scans, where we can see that breakdown in data. And you're like, I haven't lost any weight. I'm like, okay, well, let's see what it actually says. Because if you've put on 500 grams of muscle, that's awesome. Like, that's hard to do. So you see here, this is an example of an AI, 70 kilo female, but you'd see, it'll probably hear me talking about it in your feed here and come up in your algorithms. But 70 kilos can look different on you. Okay, so if you've got more muscle, we know it's heavier than fat, but we know we look considerably different, clothes fit differently, all of those things. So focus on your muscle as well, not simply the weight on the scales.
So I challenge you to not put a number as your goal. When you're going to walk away, a number for a scale weight, it might be a number. If you've got your body scan and you're like, I want to lose 5 kilos of fat, no problem, that's a number, I get that. But I don't want a scale weight number, because we've just really tried to get across, it's actually irrelevant. Who gives a shit? If you weigh 70 kilos and you look like you know, you want to look like, whichever one that may be, any of them. If your goal, dream body is any of those and you want to be 70 kilos, great. But if you're 75 and you look exactly the same, who gives a shit? Who cares what the scale weight, if you're looking how you want to look or you're performing how you want to perform? So the number on the scales is absolutely irrelevant. Yep.
Cool. All right. Any questions so far again?
There's a bit there. So.
There is. There's heaps. And that's also the nutrition part. What we get to now is actually finding some numbers specific to you. So if you have any general questions at this stage, this is the time.
Can I just ask?
Some of you. Yep.
Yep. I get a little bit confused with protein shake.
Yeah.
When is the best time to have them? Is
Yep.
it best to have before a workout, after a workout? Do you have a meal and then is that a snack?
Yeah. Remember with protein shakes, so we always say whole foods is optimal. So protein shakes are a supplement to a beautiful lots of whole foods. Now, it's going to depend on you. Okay, so I'm going to make it difficult in that. We want to get some protein after we train, particularly women. Men have a bit bigger window to eat after they train. Women, we want to make sure we get some protein after we train, and carbs before and after, ideally. But say, for example, for me, if I'm not going to have 3 protein shakes a day, but for me, my hardest meal to get is breakfast, because my mornings I'm either up at 4 a.m. or I'm getting up and I've got 4 kids on top of me straight away trying to navigate whatever, getting them dressed, getting them sorted, getting them ready for school. So a protein shake in the morning allows me to make sure I start the day with protein, and it's quick and easy. However, if I had my ideal world, I'd probably sit and have some eggs on toast and relax and have a cup of tea and start my day calmly, and I'd probably have a protein shake post-training. So in the sense that there's no one right answer for that you can make it fit for you, because I don't want you having 4 protein shakes throughout the day.
But just on that too, I mean, Michelle said her ideal day but my ideal day would be to never have a protein shake. Yeah. No, as in not because I don't like them, and I use them all the time, but if I'm prepared enough, I will eat food 100% of the time I've ever had. It should supplement a good diet, not a bad. And people use protein shakes to essentially be lazy sometimes without meal prepping, is how I look at it. Now, before I train, I have a protein shake because it's easily absorbed. It doesn't sit too heavy in my stomach, so I'll have that and I'll have some carbs and then I'll go and train. After
And then you'll
training,
eat again after.
but after I'll eat, but if I have protein shake before, I definitely wouldn't have one after. I'll definitely eat after. So it's either eat at either end of it. In saying that though, if food is still better than a protein shake. So I'm not against them at all. I use
Does
them.
that help?
Yeah,
Nat?
that is an issue in the mornings.
Yeah, and that's where we're like, by all means do it. Or learn to have, there's things, overnight oats and things, is still protein powder that you'll put in there, they sit there, you can get up and it still gives you a bit more substance. I know it's protein powder, but it's an actual breakfast and it'll make you feel a little bit.
And just lastly, if you are having a protein shake before a workout, how much before a workout should you have?
With 30 to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So I know if anyone trains at 5 o'clock, they're like, it's super hard. And it is, but I still encourage the 5 a.m.ers to have a slice of toast with some honey, or toast, I said toast, whatever. A rice cake, 2 rice cakes with some honey, and at least half a protein shake before they train. And I guarantee they'd feel better and perform better and recover better. Yep. Yep. Nutrition before you train is super important. And
Just quick, last year I weighed my food raw weight, is that correct? Like
That's-
chicken breasts and steak,
absolutely.
there is a
Ideally.
difference, isn't there?
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
and that's still
So
correct.
ideally, if you can weigh your meat's raw weight, that is ideal, that is optimal. If you can't, or if you know that that's too much and too challenging and you cook in batches and all the things, so Benny's OCD, we have his raw weight sorted. I'm a bit more chilled and I'll just consistently, whatever you choose, be consistent with it. So I'll consistently weigh cooked weight. So I don't chop and change. I do cooked because it's easier with the kids and that's how I can
the
stay
reason
consistent.
being though is the hydration level.
Yeah.
So if I cook it for 8 minutes tonight, I cook it for 10 tomorrow, we've got a different weight. Like there's a different hydration level of the meat. So that's why raw will give you a consistent
More consistent.
reading all the
So
time.
it's
That's all. But if
raw
you
is
don't,
definitely
I mean, if you
optimal.
don't, measuring it at some point is still good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so what we are going to do now is
So-
you all,
Just, is anyone super against AI? Some people are. If you are, that's okay. You can use a fake name and a fake date of birth, and none of your details go into this. If you QR code this, you only need a free account with ChatGPT. We're going to step you through what we've created within this. I'm just going to change
so
it
you
to
can,
mine.
yeah, you got, yours, it is there.
Yeah, I've got a picture of that.
So, just while you guys are getting in there, this is a ChatGPT bot for anyone who's used it or not used it. It is a ChatGPT bot that we have put our Resolute formulas, our Resolute training approach, our Resolute approaches to how we support you, as well as example meal plans from a nutritionist, as well as targets, as well as formulas related. So this AI, the idea of this is to give you extra support. It has all the same information in regard to the formulas that we have used in previous challenges, the 2.2 or the 0.85 to 1 gram for fats. It has all of that in there. It's just way easier in that it's only going to ask you some questions. It's populated with in-body data. It's so yeah. Will you keep talking to while I do that?
Yeah, so with this, the rules that are created in here, this is not generic AI like Shell said. We've put in specific rules. So when you talk to this, it's like you're talking to us because we've got the standards, the protein we wanted, we've gone to the maximum amount of a deficit you can be in. It's got all of our intellectual property in there. It's basically like, I just want yours off. I don't want you're airplane mine now, eh? Okay, yeah, that works. Yeah, that's all good. So, and then what you'll do is when you go back into it, if anyone hasn't used ChatGPT, you just go to that old conversation, it will store everything you've got in there. So, the way we're going to do the onboarding in a moment, but essentially, if you're stuck for an idea, ask it. Obviously we're here, but it's often, it'll be out of hours and you're just like, I need to, this, I haven't been prepared today, which we don't want, but you just say, I've got
Someone
a
need our
meal for
Wi-Fi.
this.
Do you want our Wi-Fi? I'll go get our Wi-Fi. You keep playing.
Yeah, and then like we said, all the parameters we've spoken about, your recommendations, the total daily energy expenditure, it's going to go through an onboarding process with yourself in a moment. You'll be onboarded before you leave here. So this is like a workshop here. I'll show you how it works. And then from there, you can ask it anything. It's amazing. You can say, I have a family of 4 that I need to meal prep for. On Sunday, I want to have my breakfast and lunch meal prep for the week. I don't like these foods. My wife's fussy. My kids don't like this. I shop at Coles. Give me a shopping list of here's my macros and give me recipes that I can make in under 30 minutes that are simple, right? And it literally steps everything out for you. So whilst we